All right, and we're rolling. Okay, mes amis, we're going to look at some examples that are similar to what you're doing in your workbook. And these are, well, I don't remember what it is in the workbook. But where I am in the text right now, I think the numbers line up. It's on page 33. This is section 2-5, and I'm looking at letters B and C. I think that is the same in the workbook. Anyway, you'll recognize the exercise. The first exercise, let's read the directions. Each measure is incomplete. Add one or more rests to the end of each measure to complete the measure. So these are incomplete measures. Let's dive right into it. Now, bottom line, gang, you cannot do this if you don't know what the beat note is for a time signature. So if you're still working on that, go practice more. There's self-test practice here. Earlier in the chapter, do the workbook assignments, check your answers, ask questions, but you need to be able to identify the beat note of a given time signature in order to do these exercises. And let me just go broader with that. You need to be able to identify the beat note of a given time signature in order to read and write music clearly. If you want your music to be easily read by musicians, you need to demonstrate where the beat note is in how you write a piece of music. Okay, so that goes for both these next two things and for the rest of your life. All right, looking at number 1, I'm going to go ahead and make notes here. It's in 2/4 time, and we'll go over to the iPad here in a second. 2/4 time, and they're giving us the rhythms: an eighth, 2/16, and a dotted eighth. So let's switch over to what I've written here. See that? All right. Our job is to complete this measure with one or more rests. So here's the thing. We start every time by figuring out what the beat note is. 2/4 time, that's a simple time signature, simple duple as a matter of fact. What's the beat note? Well, we look to the bottom number. It's a 4. So a beat note is a quarter note. How many do we have? 2. I'm just going to write that up above. 2 quarter notes. Well, if I add this up right here, this eighth is a half of a quarter note. These 2/16, same as an eighth, is another half of a quarter note. So this little beamed unit right here is the length of a single quarter note. There's 1 quarter note. So that's cool. And then that must mean that this next note begins beat 2. And let's ask ourselves, how much information is in this dotted eighth? Well, I know the dotted eighth is an eighth note plus a half of an eighth note. I also know that a dotted eighth is 3/16. Hopefully you're good at that by now. You see a dotted eighth go up or down to a smaller value, and you'll find 3 of those in a dotted note. Dotted eighth, 3/16. Okay, how many 16th notes in a quarter note? If you need to pause and check it out, go do it. There are 4 in a quarter note. So the remaining space here, all that's left to complete this measure is a single 16th rest. 2 flags for a 16th rest. Okay, number 2. Ooh, a nice compound. And again, these are in the self-test in the text. Number 2 is 9/16. So while I'm writing this out, you are thinking to yourself, what is the beat note in 9/16 time? Oh, this is gnarly. This first note is an eighth note because it has a single beam, but then there are 3 beams on those 2 notes. That means that is 2 30-second notes. The good thing is the math is pretty straightforward. All right, so did you figure it out? What's the beat note? That's right. The beat note in 9/16 time is a dotted eighth. I know that because sixteenths are the subdivision, division of the beat. And we take 3 of those to make one beat and group them together, and that makes dotted eighths. A dotted eighth or 3/16. You can think of it either way, and you should think of it both ways. That's the beat note. Well, then beat 1 is super easy. I'll tell you what, I'll put that underneath just to keep things clear. So I'm going to put a dotted eighth here to show beat 1. Ooh, that's a nice looking eighth note. Now, beat 2 must, of course, begin with this. Let's see how much of beat 2 we get. And ultimately, we will have 3 because it's a 9, so it's triple meter. 3 dotted eighth beats. All right, looking at this next group of notes, I've got an eighth note. Okay, that covers the first part of the dotted eighth. Or you can also think about, again, 3/16. So this eighth note here is the equivalent of 2 16th notes. And then 2 30-seconds. Like I said, the math is pretty easy. You combine 2 30-seconds together and you cut the thing in half. It becomes a 16th note. 2 30-seconds together make 1 16th note. So I've got 1, 2, 3 16th notes. That's beat 2. I also like getting in the habit of drawing little dashed lines between beats. That helps keep things straight. Up above, there would have been a dashed line here. Okay, so it's super straightforward then. We have 2 complete beats given, and we're missing 1 complete beat, so we do a dotted eighth rest to complete that measure. Let's do one more of these. How about this 12/4 time at the end? So this is number 6, is in 12/4, and you're already thinking, oh, that's a 12, so that's a compound quadruple. There will be 4 beats, and those beats will contain 3 things. What are those things? The 4. 4 quarter notes per beat, and 4 beats. So that adds up to 12 quarter notes. What they give us is a half, a quarter, a dotted half, another dotted half, and a quarter. All right. So you work it out. You know what the beat note is? The beat note is a dotted half. 3 quarter notes per beat. This is a compound meter, so we take the bottom number. That's the division of the beat, 3 quarter notes. So let's do our 3 quarter notes, or dotted half. Check. I have a half note and a quarter note. That's 1, 2, 3 quarter notes. I'm going to draw a little beat line there. The dotted half note is the beat, so that's easy. Dotted half note is the beat, that's easy. So what's left? Well, let's keep track of our beats here. This is beat 1. This is beat 2. This is beat 3. Okay, so we made it to beat 4, and we have a quarter note of that last beat. So what's left? 2 quarter notes worth of stuff, or a half note, and so we'll represent it with a half rest. You know, I just glanced up here and I saw number 3. I think we should do number 3. I'll throw that here. Number 3 is cool because it's going to require us to take an extra step. It's 6/8 time, and all they give us is a quarter note. 6/8 time is, again, a compound meter. And so we use the eighth note as the division of the beat. We add up 3 of those. 3 eighth notes means a dotted quarter is a beat? Well, what they've given us in the first beat is just a quarter note. Just a quarter note. So beat 1 is incomplete. Now, remember the big statement. We always want our music to clearly show the beats. Let me show you the wrong way to do this. That is, I completely understand. This would be an instinctive way to do this. But let's do this wrong. Here we go. 6/8 time. Oh, okay. I know what 6/8 time means. 6/8 time means there are 6/8 notes in a measure. That's true. 6/8 notes in a measure. So I need to complete this measure. I need 6/8 notes. How many eighth notes do I have? Well, there are 2 eighth notes here. All right, 2 eighth notes, cool. I need 4 more eighth notes. Oh, well, in my travels, I have seen that 4 eighth notes fit perfectly into a half note. So that's what I'll do. I'll write a half rest. 2 eighth notes here, 4 eighth notes worth of stuff here. Great, I'm done. Okay, why is that wrong, kids? Because it obscures the beat line. It obscures where the beats are separated. Right now, I see a separation here. I see a group of stuff here and a group of stuff here. Well, that's not the true dividing line between beats 1 and 2. The true dividing line is right there in that beam. So it goes right through this half rest. It is not easy to count 6/8 time with that rhythm. So let's do it again. I'm in 6/8 time. I see this quarter note. I know that beats are dotted quarters. So what I do is I complete beat 1 first with a rest. There, beat 1's done. Now I'm going to write a rest for beat 2. I used 2 rests, and that's in the instruction. Use 1 or more rests to complete the measure. So in this example, I used 2. If the question you have is, why would you use 2 rests when 1 could do it? Hopefully the answer is clear in your head now. The answer is because my single rest crossed the beat line and obscured the visual picture of beats 1 and 2. Like I said, I'm going to be a broken record on this. You're going to be hearing that phrase in your sleep. Do not obscure the beat note. Okay, so this is an example where we would use 2 rests. The first rest completes beat 1. The second rest is beat 2. There you go. Okay, I'm going to stop this and do one more video for section C. Here we go. We'll see you in a minute. Bye.